I am going to make a mini album and show you how I did it. I'm using Stamperia's Candy Christmas. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi everyone, this is Debbie from Project 39 Mini Albums. I picked up a couple of Stamperia Christmas pads. Well, this was Christmas. I wanted something fun and colorful and just something fun. Now I made a couple of albums using this Stamperia, the Owl's House. So people were asking for a tutorial on that, and so that is what this will be. So again, it's got lots of fun colors, lots of fussy cutting. I know not everyone is nuts about that. I mean, look at the fun images. Isn't that adorable? And then there are these little scenes with elves and those candy Christmas trees. There's some candy canes. Looks like dots, you know, those things on icing. That looks fun. It looks like on the top of a waffle. And then look at this page. This is just a waffle print. There's some clouds. There's some cut aparts. There's a couple more. There's some more cut aparts. Another background page. I don't know. Something yummy. And I have another page that I pulled out already. Well, I pulled out a couple of pages because I've already cut them to get them ready to make a mini album. So what I have is two pieces that is 4 3/8 by 5 of chipboard. I've already cut everything, so hopefully this will work out. It doesn't always work out the way you want. The cardstock that I'm using is white 65 pound from Recollections. It is 7 inches by 6 3/8. I've already put double-sided adhesive on the back here. I know it doesn't fit all the way, so I will add just a touch of glue. And I am just going to do my best to center this. I do have spacers so I could center it perfectly, but I think I'm being lazy today. All right, and I will do the same with this. I've already burnished this. This is the 4-inch double-sided permanent adhesive that I get from scrapbook.com. I think I've got it listed in the description box. If not, I've got scrapbook.com. Just look for the rolls. Now, if you don't want to buy that much, because obviously I make a lot of mini albums, but if you only make a couple, you could buy the sheets of the double-sided adhesive. All right, sometimes I'm really neat about this, but this time I'm just going to cut my corners just about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. My goal today is to try to make this video non-stop. Hopefully no errors. No hits, no runs, no errors. I don't know. I don't watch baseball too much anymore. But that's what I was thinking of. All right. I am going to just use glue. I know some people like to use tape, but this glue is going to hold it. This paper is not going to go anywhere. So I put it alongside the chipboard. Now I'm going to put it around the perimeter. Usually I'll do two opposing sides, and then I will do the other two sides. But because this is such a small piece, I'm taking a gamble. So I'll take my bone folder and burnish it. Turn that around and burnish it again. And I will burnish that. Now I see I've got a lot of chipboard showing. It's really not that big of a deal, but I'm grabbing one of these corners and I'm just going to add a little glue to it. And I will just cover it That's all we need to do. So I'll do the same for this side. So again, I like to add glue right next to the chipboard. It softens the paper. It allows the paper fibers to bend without cracking. And it just helps it get a nice fold. And then when you adhere everything, when you push the glue, it just adheres nicely. So now I will go ahead and burnish. And burnish. And I'll tuck in this little corner there and burnish against there and burnish and burnish. Okay, now that I've got that done, I will go ahead and rub the edge of my bone folder along the edge of the chipboard. That helps give it what I call a nice crisp, clean look, and we're good with that. Okay, now I've got a really small spine for this. This is 1.25 inches by 5. And I know I have 2 pieces because I'm going to do 2 mini albums. Here we go. So this is 7 inches, and I just used what was left over, so 7 by 4 3/4, but it could be as small as 7 by, I guess, 4. You want 1.5 inches on each side for the sides of this. Oh, that's not too bad. All right, I'll put this down. And then I will fold and burnish. And what I'm going to do here, because this paper, although it says it's 65-pound weight, it's the white, the Recollections white, is a little thinner. I'm going to add glue here. Got this top piece. I'll add some here. And I'll push up against the edge, burnish it on the top here, then try to come right next to the edge and come across. So you see this comes at a slight angle just because the excess is against the edge of that chipboard, and then I'll burnish. Now, if you're curious, I have done many videos on making an album, and there's some other ones that I'll go slower than this. This one I'm actually going a little faster than I normally do. All right, I'm going to go up against the edge. And then go like that. And then here I am just going to add glue about 1/8 inch away from where the chipboard is on the other side, and fill this in with some glue. I'll just do one side then the other. All right, here's where that little piece showed, so I'm going to put that close to the spine. Just push it down like this. Turn it over and burnish. Do this side. Oh, did I not get a good... I did not. So guess what? I'm going to do it again. If you pull it up right away, then you're good. So let's see if I can do this better. It's over here. I just had more of the, it just wasn't on perfect. There, that's better. All right, burnish that real good. Add some glue here, 1/8 inch away. Oops, that was a little close. Fill this in. Put this right up against there. A lot of times I'll use my scoreboard to make sure I get a good straight fit, but I'm not. And then I'll burnish this. And there we go. Now, sometimes when I'm doing larger albums, I will fill this in with another piece of paper. I don't need to do that in this case because I'm going to put the hinge, and it's going to be smaller than this. It's going to cover that whole area. So I'm going to grab my scoreboard and we're going to make a hinge. Okay, so we're going to make a hinge. This paper is 8.5 by 4 inches, and we're going to score it 4 sets of 1/2 inch hinges with 1/4 inch in between. So I'm going to start at 1.5, score at 2, 2.5, 2 3/4, 3 1/4, 3 3/4, 4, 4.5, 5, 5 1/4, 5 3/4, 6 1/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. 4 hinges with 1/4 inch between. All right, so, oops. All right, so I'm going to use this just as a surface. All right, I'm going to turn it so the bumpy side is facing down, and I'm going to fold it in between each 1/2 inch piece. So there's a score line there and a score line there. That second score line will fold on. Then we're going to skip another score line, skip another score line, and fold. Make sure your edges are lined up. Skip, skip, fold. And skip, skip, fold. All right, so now we're going to turn it. So now the bumpy side's facing up, and you can see there's slight folds there. I'm going to hold this and pull this towards me, and where we burnished, that's going to come up and create a peak. I'm going to fold it, burnish it with my fingers, pull this towards me again so we get the next set of hinges. Pull it towards me again, next set of hinges. And again, I'm sorry, I'm going fast on purpose just because I've gone through this many times and I've got other videos that describe this in better detail. But now I'm going to take my glue and put it on one side of the hinge, fold it, and burnish it. Distribute that glue. And then I will burnish, burnish, and burnish. So I will use my bone folder, the edge of it, fold the hinges one way, I'll push them all away from me, and fold them the other way. All right, now that I've got that, I can add this here. And see what I mean? I've got the white here. You put this down and you don't see any of it. Now, if you wanted to, you could add a piece of paper to this. Do I want to do that? I haven't felt the need to do that before, but that would make it pretty. I don't like all of this white, but the reason I made this smaller is because I'm going to have pockets with some bigger photo mats. I'm looking through the book. I don't want to use that. I mean, that's pretty. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do this. Wait, there was another one that I didn't like nearly as much. The candy cane? Nope, I'm going to take this, what are they called? Non-parallels? Parallels? I'm sure it's a French word that means something to somebody. I'm going to, this is called Fly by the Seat of Your Pants. I want this so the book is, again, 5 inches. So I'm going to cut it 4 7/8. And how about if I use it to cover the back cover of the book as well? So it's 8 inches by 4 7/8. And while I did this, I noticed you can see some of this showing through, some of the spine piece. I'm just going to cut that off. There was just a smidgen, but it was enough that I saw it. All right, let's move everything. I don't know about you, but do you find yourselves cleaning up? I clean up all the time. All right, so I want this to cover the back cover and the spine, and it's okay that it goes over. I'll be covering this with other paper, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to add glue around the perimeter of this piece. And then I'm going to add glue, especially on the spine. Go down the edge. I want to make sure I get good coverage here. And I don't want to put glue right in that indentation, but I do want to put some on the other side. And then I know I want to cover this. And some there. Okay. So there should be a 1/16 of an inch. And I will grab my bone folder. Make sure I cover that spine. Alrighty. I'm going to go in that channel and then bend this. I did toy with the idea of using, instead of white, I was going to use pink or blue. Okay, that looks okay. But I ended up sticking with white just because, I don't know, it just gave me more options. All right, I'm going to add glue on the underside of our hinge in the channels. And there. And then I'll put this towards the bottom, so I'm staying about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. There's more room on the top. Just trying to lay it down, make sure it's even. So since there's 4 hinges, there's 3 gussets. I can take my finger in the center one and burnish and distribute that glue. Then I'll move one of the hinges over and burnish, distribute that glue, move them all to the left, and then everything to the right, and then take my bone folder and burnish. And then I'm going to add glue, make sure that's all even, which it is. Add glue here, and then around this wing, fold that over, gonna burnish right next to that hinge, and then move all these over. Take this wing, put some glue here, glue around the edge of this wing, which is what I call the other side of the hinge, and burnish. Whoops, lots of glue came out, lots of glue. Oh, you know what? I should have thought about this. So now this will cover up our pretty paper here. You know what? We'll figure it out. I'll put something on that side. Should have thought about that ahead of time, huh? Okay, so there we go. Now, I have already cut my pages. So these are 8 1/4 by 4 1/8. I am going to take my scoreboard. I have 4 of them. 8 1/4, 4 1/8. So I want to score at 4 1/8 on all of these. 4 1/8. This is going to be almost the fastest mini album. I mean, it could go faster. The way it could go faster is instead of using this cardstock, if you just use the pattern paper. And I might do that. All right, I'm going to fold and burnish and make sure everything's nice and straight. All right, and then I am going to take this piece. I'll put glue on the hinge, just on the top portion. So if it's facing up, it's on the top portion, just half of it. And then I'll put this down. Make sure it's even. About 1/4 of an inch. I want this to be closer to the hinge. So there's just about a 1/16 of an inch of the hinge showing. Do the next one. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I meant to add glue to the bottom. I'll go back and do that. Keep it lined up with the other ones. Wait, what did I do here? Well, I did not fully, look what I did. I did not, I didn't cover that fully. Luckily I have another one. You guys are seeing it all today. Warts and all, is that the saying? But the important thing is, even if you make a mistake, it's just paper. And you can always get more. I mean, even if it's like special paper that you think they've sold out of, go look on eBay. You might find it again. All right, so we have our 4 pages. Now, I did mean to add glue on the bottom of the pages, so I'm just opening it up and adding a bead of glue for all 4 of these pages, so they are pocket pages open at the top. And then I will burnish each of those pages. Okay, so here we have our book, bend those pages, and there we go. All right, we're going to start doing a little bit of decorating. So I've cut some pink and blue cardstock. So I cut the blue, the light blue, just a little bit smaller. I need to cut it even smaller, and I'll tell you the measurement. So 4 1/4 by 4 7/8. What is up with this? That's wrong. That's not what I meant. Not what I wanted to do. Four 1/4, 4 7/8. I want to have some snow or something here at the bottom. I have an idea. Okay, let me tell you, I've done it about face on my cover. Decided to use this on the cover, and the reason I want to use this, I wanted a background that went all the way to the bottom. I'll try to find some snow or just cut some white and maybe ink it. I'm not sure what I'll do. Because what I want to do is put this image, I'll fussy cut and put that as the front, and then add other images next to it. Let me grab this sheet. You know, maybe fussy cut some of these and put them along the outside, sort of coming out from behind that. That's what I'm thinking right now, but I may change my mind. So I had this in my stash, which is really gaudy, but if we cover it up and just a little bit shows, it's pretty. It's just pink with iridescent on it. I've had it in my stash forever, and you know, the only thing I could think of using it is with unicorns and that kind of thing, but it'll work good for this. Or else I could have gone with this dark blue, or not dark blue, this blue glitter. That would have been okay too, but I'm going to stick with this. So, and then I've got this light blue. So let me give you some measurements. This light blue will go on the cover first. This is 4 3/16. Yes, it is. By 4 7/8. On top of that is this piece, which is 4 inches by 4 and almost 4 3/4, but it's 1/16 less, so it's 11, 4 11/16. I already put some double-sided adhesive down on the back, mostly because this isn't a really porous material. So I just want to use the double-sided adhesive to make sure it adheres. I will add a little bit of glue because the glue from the Art Glitter Institute does stick really well, but I just wanted to make sure. There's nothing worse than a cover coming up. So I will go ahead and add this. And put this on here. Gotten so used to having the liquid adhesive because there's some movement to it. But that came out okay. That came out perfect, actually. And then I will add this. But you know, I think I should use, I have this 1/8 of an inch double-sided adhesive. I think the hard part is figuring out where the start is. So I'll put this on as well. You know, I actually could go to the corner corner. And burnish. And then peel off this. This will come out 3 sides. And there we go there. So I will add glue. And put this on. The clouds remind me of cotton candy, which is apropos for this. So there we go with that. So it's just got a little bit of sheen to it in this pretty pink iridescent color. And I will put that on. Now, do I want to put it on now or do I want to do ribbon? I will put it on but leave this open here just in case I decide to add ribbon at a later date. Because I don't know if I want to have a ribbon closure. Honestly, I don't know if I have colors to coordinate with it. But just in case I do, I have room to add it. All right, so there is part of the cover. Now I like to leave the cover for the end, especially this. I'm going to have a lot of dimension. I don't want anything to happen to it. So now we can start filling the book. I'll leave the inside front cover, but I also have a couple extra pieces. So I have this and I have that. This measures 4.5 by 2 7/8. It was left over from something, so I'm going to put the 2 7/8 at the top, score it 1/2 inch. This is 5 1/8 by about 2 7/8. So again, I had it left over. With the 2 7/8 side at the top, I'm going to score it 1/2 inch. And then I'll rotate and put 1/2 inch here. And then just to make it easy, I'm just going to flip it over and score it 1/2 inch because we are going to use that as a pocket. As a matter of fact, I think I might do 2 pockets. So I'll score it 1/2 inch. Cut this 5 1/8. Score it 1/2 inch and score it 1/2 inch, and we want this, well, it was 2 7/8, so I'll cut that down. So we have 2 pockets roughly the same size for these 2 pockets. So can you see the score lines? Yes. I'm gonna cut there, cut across X, cut across the X, and miter the top. Do the same for this one. See if you can see it. Miter the top, cut across the X, cut across the X. When I say cut across the X, it's the X created by those 2 score lines. And here I'll just miter that. So we have our 3 elements. This is going to go on the side of one of the pages. I'm going to put it on the side of page, front of page 2. Why is this so much bigger? It should be 4 1/8. And I'll burnish. All right, so here I am going to put a pocket. on the front of page 3. I just glued the bottom. I'll add a little piece of tape across here, just so whatever slides in the pocket slides in easy. Oh boy, that was a big piece of tape. Alrighty. Now, since these pages are square, I could go like this. I don't think so. I could do that. But if I did that, I would want it to be a smaller pocket. I'm going to put it on the back of page 3. Just so it's easier to get things out of, because it's a small book. So you could do that if you wanted to. Cut it down in half, maybe. Okay. All right, now I have cut these are 4 inches, because you can get 4-inch pieces easily from the paper. Now that was bad cutting, wasn't it? So I want these two to be opposite each other. Somewhere I had another piece that I cut. Smaller. Did I, or am I just imagining it? Oh well, I'm not going to worry about it. Alright, so we could do this. I don't want to do that because we'll hide some of that. I could go down like that. Okay, let's put that there. That's going to go there. That'll go there. That'll go there. That will go there. And let's see what we're going to do for the cover. So this is cute. Let's do that for the inside front cover. 4 3/8 by 5. So I don't care if I cut off some of the tree. So it's got to be 5. I'm going to do it this way. 4 3/8 is the size, so I'm going to go 4 1/4 by 5. So that'll go there. I did cut it by 5, but it's a little too big, so I cut it down. So that's gorgeous. But what I think we'll do is cut into the tree so we can have a tuck spot there. And then this can go over here. Okay, like it. All right, this will be good here. And then we can add other fussy cuts for that. That'll go in the pocket, and then I'll find something. All right, that can go in the pocket. All right, so this one, this is my dilemma. But if I put this inside the pocket, I can fussy cut this, and that will be part of the pocket. Okay. And that'll go here. See, she would match with that, but let's see what other papers I have. So because I've got this here, you know what I could do is add a side loading pocket, cover this up. That's what I'll do. So this will go here, side loading pocket, using something. I'll find something. All right. I'm going to start gluing. I'm going to glue the ones that I know for sure will go on those pages, and they'll be easy. So there's that. Gosh, that's so pretty. Okay, so this is how I want to do this. That's where I'm going to cut. So I'm going to cut it at 2 1/4. But I'm going to leave some of these pieces. I'm going to cut, just leave those. So I'm going to go 2 1/4 here. And grab my scissors. So this can go on here. So that'll stick up okay. A little bit, that's okay. Oops, this is a little too big. All right, what do we have here? It's going to go inside the pocket. Two and a quarter. Okay, let's see if this is, that's two and a quarter. So there is an orientation to this. Okay, this will go here. And before I put this down, I'm going to add a little magnet. These are 1/4 inch magnets. Somewhere in my description box is the link for Total Elements. That's where I get them. Super fast shipping. Usually it'll go out that next day. That's a real big piece of tape for a small magnet. All right, so I have this, and this will go on the inside. over that magnet. I put the other corresponding magnet there. Add a bead of glue, close it. So I see that's where I need another piece of tape. There it goes. That is a cookie. Isn't that cute? Alrighty. And this will go here. Okay, and then there's this. Whoops. So what I wanted to do is just cut into the tree so there's a tuck spot. What I'm going to do before I do that is take a piece of packing tape. Or in this case, 2 pieces of packing tape. That one piece went down quicker than I was ready for. But the reason I'm doing that is because it'll strengthen this paper. So what I'm going to do is just take my craft knife, and I want to stay about 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch away from the edge. And I'll just follow the contour of the tree. That's good. And so I'll glue around the perimeter. I'll glue on the underside of this part and then all here. So around the perimeter. Here. And then glue it down. Those elves are so cute, aren't they? So what that allows me to do is add something here as a tuck spot. Oh, cute, cute, cute. Alrighty. I have do I want to do that? You know what? Because I cut off that plane, I'm going to just turn it upside down and put it in this pocket. Need to cut this down just a little bit. I could have also fussy cut that and used that as an element somewhere. But I have enough. Oops, that's not what I was going to do. I have enough fussy cut elements. Why is that not going in? So I'm not under the tab. There we go. Alrighty. And then I need to make a feature for here. So it's 5 inches, so I'll cut this at 6. And 2. So 2 by 6. Score it at 1/2 inch, and at 5 1/2, rotate it and score it at 1/2 inch. There, that'll take care of that boo-boo. Just make sure I can still open the book. Looking for my tape. Put glue in the tabs, fold that over. And there we go. So what I'm going to do is add something here, do something on the back cover and the spine, decorate the front, cut mats and embellishments in fussy cut, and then I'll show you what I have created. So hold on and let me show you what I'm going to make. All right, and so here we have the finished project. Again, it's 5 inches by 4 1/2, and it's got a 1 1/4 inch spine, just 4 pages in it. The pages are 4 by 4. I did change a little bit on the front. I just added some acetate. I cut it out in the shape of this snow globe, just so it would add that sort of snow globe feel to it. I added a couple of flowers down here in a snowflake, just because that's where I put the glue. You can't really add glue on acetate. So that is the cover. You can see there is that little touch of that pink iridescent on the outside of the cover. So inside, this is where I cut into the tree, and I just put a little card. There were these cards in the collection I just cut apart. And here is another one. In most of the corners of these pages, I just grouped a bunch of elements together to make a tuck spot. And then I added I think it's a 3 1/2 by 4 photo mat in the top of all of these pages. So here's another little tuck spot, cute little image. This page opens like that, but here I just took a little, that was from the collection, it just was a little tag. I glued this train down at the bottom. And this opens like that, and then here is that. Now this is also open here, but I didn't put anything in that spot. Here is the photo mat for that page. Aren't the images so pretty? All right, so I've got the Mr. and Mrs. Nutcracker here, and I have them on this page as well. So that is a tuck spot. This is just a pocket page, so I added them and then just layered a couple of the cookies. And there is just a snowman cut apart. I think they call them postcards. Stamperia calls them postcards for their collection. And here is that photo mat. So even though you may not want to cover it, you could put a photo there, but as well, there's room on the back to put photos. Here's another pocket with just a little cut apart in there. Santa's little helper cut apart. I added this tree here just to make a place to tuck something in. But if you were to cover that, that would be okay. You can cover it because you'll still have this pretty element. So there is that, and here is that photo mat. Isn't that a pretty image too? And then here is the back. Here's a tuck spot for that page. And then here I put the side loading pocket and put a larger photo mat. You know, I'm looking at this and I'll probably cover this up with the same paper. So that is that. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It's a real little mini album. It's great for 8x8 papers because you can cut 4 pieces out of the 8x8 paper and that will cover 2 pages basically. So you can get pretty far. I actually made a second book, so I will be showing you that in another video. So don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you know when that video is done. And the next book is it for my Christmas mini albums. I do have winter, but I don't know if I'm going to start working on that in December. I have other projects coming up. That is what I have for you. Thank you so much and have a fabulous day.